Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to wherever you are. Welcome to the Anchored Mind Technology Podcast. I am your host, Isaiah. Here with me today, I have Javon. He has been a teacher for over 8 years. He has a bachelor's in business, a master's in curriculum, and a master's in counseling as well. He has a master's in curriculum instruction and a master's in counseling as well. He played college football, and he is a husband and a father. Thank you for joining the podcast. I'm very happy to have you here today.
I'm excited to be here.
Perfect.
Thank you for reaching out to me.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So let me ask you this. So I want to really go back to your origin. So what specifically drew you to special education, and do you remember the moment you knew this was the career for you?
Yeah, so I was not in education at all. So first, as a looking at my career, I was in sales. And I figured okay, I got to do something to have more of a bigger impact on other people. And that's kind of what drove me to education.
Yeah.
And reason why I dove into special education is because starting off, I was subbing, and I noticed that all the open positions for subs were for special education teacher. They didn't have a lot of subs for special education. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just getting into the industry of education, period.
Yeah.
So let me just dive special education. Let's try it out. So I started subbing for those positions, and I was like, this is not that bad. So I could definitely make a career out of this. I'm having the same impact.
Yeah.
I still want to have an impact on kids and other people. That's kind of my philosophy, is that use my skills and ability to impact other people. And I was like, this is a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And it's a need, and noting that there are only typically females in education in general. It's like, man, special education needs help as well. And one of the turning points that kind of got me into special education is that there's no one way to solve a problem. There's no one way to actually learn.
Yeah.
There are multiple ways to learn one skill. And being as a special education provider, as a paraprofessional, and then currently as a teacher, there's all different ways to how to teach students. No matter if they have a disability, where I don't even look at it as a disability. I call it a special ability for them to reach the same I would say grade level as as a student who doesn't have a disability. And even in special education, I've also noticed that the accommodations, the services that we provide to the kids who do have IEP, it also supports the students who do not have IEP. So not only I'm impacting the students who have IEP, but I'm also helping students who just need a little bit help in that resource to get over.
I know that special education in some ways gets a bad rap at times.
Yeah.
Especially from people that have worked in it, as well. Have you seen other coworkers that either they had that passion and they lost their passion, or they came into SPED without the passion at all?
So yeah, I noticed that, and I think you're referring to like a burnout, right? When it comes to teachers who get into special education.
Yeah.
And from my perspective is that the resources that are available to special educators. Like, I think the passion in things is there, is that it gets burned out because of how much the special education teacher have to provide for that student. Not only for one student, but for multiple students. In some districts, where the classroom has 15 to 10 students who have a disability, where they would benefit from one-on-one help.
Yeah.
Redirecting, providing the foundations of learning, or just being in a learning environment. They don't have those skills. So sometimes it's not being taught. So then you're kind of like, you can't teach the academics if the behavior or the system that they're used to is different. So the students are in a system that's different from what their routine system, which they have a disability, not meaning that, I mean, it just takes time for them to get used to a routine. They're not as flexible as a student who doesn't have a disability. But I mean, it varies with the student. So I would say that teachers come in with that very compassionate and having all this passion to the special education industry. But it's when you try to, support the group that you have, and then through evaluations, through parents moving, kids moving schools, they go into the system, which might not be the same system that they're used to. So that's where it calls, I would say, the burnout, because it's like you start with one group, or you start with a group with one student, get them used to the routine, and then guess what? Just as humans, we go back to things that we're comfortable with. And if other students are, for example, all the students are out of their seat, then you got them into being in their seat, you got them into the routine, and then you have a student come in who doesn't know the routine, and they mess up the flow, and then you have to just teach everybody the same way until everyone is on the same page. And that's kind of for like a self-contained setting. Now, what it looks like, because I push into the classroom and provide those services. Well, if the services is only being provided in the school and not in the home, then there's a big gap.
There's a big gap.
There's a big gap because you can't force it at school and then it's not being reinforced at the house. So if I'm working with a student every day on, say, multiplication, and they have that disability of short-term memory, short-term memory where they're not able to capture that whole skill, it has to be reinforced every day.
It has to be reinforced.
Now, it could be reinforced if there's, and this is where the resources come in. If I'm the only person that's doing it, then I get burned out. But if I have more support from other special education teachers, or we have more support from just bodies being in that bodies in there to provide the services to the student, then it won't be so much a big burnout.
And it sounds like, for one, as you mentioned, it sounds like it is very complex. And at the same time, if you're someone that, like you said, if you have the team for it, and then also if you have the patience as well, for kids that are not adjusted to the routine at all, to be very flexible with them and patient with them. And is everyone that you know that you've worked with patient or as collaborative as you would say that they are? People that you've worked with in the past, or just other people that you may have seen?
No, and that's where, if you are with a team and communication is there, and the team has the same type of vision and the goal for the students, then it's more than capable to kind of meet those goals for that particular student. Being with a team that's open-minded, meaning that, like I said, special education, there's no one way for every student. You have to adjust and work where the student is meeting you at and meet the student there. Whereas if someone might have a different mindset, like, okay, this works for one student, then it should work for the next student. And I think the team has to be just open-minded when it comes to that.
The team has
Now,
to be open-minded.
I think it can be a lot of conflict for sure. Working with a team who is not it's not communicating with each other.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: how has your optimism and your emotional bandwidth evolved over time as a teacher?
And you're talking about, and just want to think about the question you asked. So, how has my emotion as a special education teacher evolved throughout?
Yeah. Have you seen yourself growing more passionate about the field, or have you found yourself growing less passionate, or even at times, even questioning, hey, is this for me? Do I still want to be here? And so on.
I think so. Yeah. This is my 8th year teaching, and I'm noticing some of my. I'm looking for something that can still have an impact. I feel like at this district or at this school, I over exceeded the expectations for my position and set a standard for how someone is supposed to provide services for the student. And it's like, what is next for me? So that's one of the reasons why I got a master's in counseling. It's like, okay, with special education, it's trying to get them somewhere. As far as an increase in their grade level, the increase in their performance, them meeting or exceeding their goals. There's I would say a number or a grade associated with their performance, which is a reflection of my performance.
Of your performance.
Where I'm seeing that the performance is the same. It's like I provide the resource, I provide the support for the student. They make progress, they jump up in grade level, and I start again, right over again because of the system where kids are not getting the foundational skills. So it's like I'm starting all over with the same student or with a group of students. It's just a revolving door. I get them, and then the next students come in. I get them, help them out, and then they go to the next stage. Even if they were able to meet their goals and improve, or some students I deal with, some students that I interact with and teach them, and they only make limited progress. Whereas being a counselor, the progress is related to how that person or how that student on their way, not on, a grade level or performance standard. It's more of like, how do they feel? Or how does that individual feel? There's no, I'll say, a rubric for that. It's more of the person that I'm interacting, how do they feel about themselves? There's no, I would say there's no performance there of that reflects how I'm doing.
Yeah. And, counseling and teaching, even the way that you put that, it shows that they're very distinctly different. And in how you said, one is you are performing to a standard, and also even to a number, versus counseling where you're really working off of, like you said, your client, the people that you are working with, you're really working off of their goals. And so it really becomes case by case instead of working in education where you're working to that number. Now, let me ask you this. What happens if those numbers are not met in education?
If they're not met, it's all, it's related to your salary. So your salary is affected by... Your salary is affected because they have metrics for every student, and those metrics are tied to how you perform. There's, even with delivery of the instruction, how well are you delivering it? You get a score from that. They also look at how district assessments, state assessments, and that really dictates how well you teach. So, being these students have special abilities, they might struggle with those standards.
Got you. And even if they struggle with those standards and they don't meet that number, is there a curve that's given, towards the number that you're performing to? Do they give grace because of that, or?
No, I think from my perspective, I don't know if it's in writing, but I haven't got a evaluation on how my students are performing on their IEP goals. It's not because the IEP committee knows the student, and that information is not provided to the evaluation on how you perform.
Okay.
So it's not a metric that they use. I haven't heard anything about them using the IEP goals to see if if you're teaching the student. They more look at the state, they look at the district, which, I mean, is that something they should look at more into when it comes to whether you are teaching teaching well? I think it can be tied in, but that's where the student can actually perform and meet something at their level, because you can't provide a student who's in the 5th grade, who's on the 1st and 2nd grade level, and want them to pass the STAR.
Actually, that's a good point.
To pass the district assessments.
Yeah.
I mean, and then on those assessments, there are certain limitations to what support they get. It's not the same support if it was just a classroom assessment, or like just a performance or like classroom assignments. It's totally different. Like you can't use the same accommodations. I would say it has to be a TEA certified, where someone actually looks at, okay, what are you providing to the students? Okay, it has to be reviewed first before giving it to the students.
Got you.
So even with communication within providing the services in the classroom, I'm right there, step by step, word for word, pausing. What do you think about this? Hey, what does this information tell you about the story? Do you think this is critical information, or is it irrelevant information to help you with the main message or the central idea? Even with solving a math problem, annotating what is a story. You can't do that on the state assessment. Yeah, which is providing them the support they need. You know, they'll work on the I would say computation of it, but they still need that problem solving. They still lack that problem solving skill to understand which number I need to add, which number I need to multiply, you know, which operation I need to do. I can highlight the words for them, but they have to do the computation of it for sure. Yeah. And you can't provide that service on those district or state assessments.
Got you. Wow. And it also sounds like, you know, not only are you, you know, very detailed, even in your teaching approach, even in your teaching philosophy, but also with the IEP, it sounds like there's several eyes that are being laid on it. It's not just one. And then also the eyes that are laid on it, I'm guessing some of those eyes do know the students. Understandable. Now, with that, and this kind of goes along, I think, even with like some of the differences between general ed and special ed. So you know that I worked at a private school. I worked in special ed for about 3 years. And one of the things that I got across the board from private, and then also people that I knew that also worked in public school that worked in that worked in general ed. One of the big fears that I got from people in general ed thinking or even wondering about switching to SPED was hitting. Any physical contact that the student may actually give you or actually make with you, whether it's biting, and you know that I've been bit before, but what do you say to that?
Someone who's making that transition to special education, they have to be aware that those are the implications of the job description. Is how can you support the student, but also supporting yourself in that sense. if if you're getting hit, of course, you're not going to just stand there and get hit.
Understand?
But we'll move, duck and dodge. You're not going to just get hit. Set yourself up to move away.
Yeah.
Use your voice. You for situations that are serious. That's a good time to use your yelling voice. Now, if you're a teacher who is projecting your voice very loudly, then that's not going to really shock the student. So within your teaching approach, within your teacher voice, you need to be calm in those situations where it's not a serious situation. So when it is a serious situation, then you can add that voice like, hey, stop. Then if I alert them, okay, I haven't heard that voice before. I need to actually stop what I'm doing. And then within in your situation, you're in a self-contained setting, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then just having a team who knows about the student and what triggers that student to do certain things. Yeah. So then you can prevent it from happening. Okay, I'm noticing that John Doe is getting heated. You can see the emotions on their face. Okay, this is something different. Or I'm looking back like, okay, when this student was this way, this is what happened.
This is what happened.
So you're trying to prevent it, either just trying to mentally move that student into a different direction before it even actually happens. So like an example would be you take the iPad, their iPad dies down or the activity goes away. Preferred activity goes away. Being preventative and trying to de-escalate the situation right then and there. It's like, okay, hey, this is what I have. This is what we're doing. We're following our schedule, but this is what we're doing next. So having a visual of what's going next. And another key thing is reaching out to the parents. Like, what's going on at the house? What are some things that's happening that are successful for this student? Really tapping into the parents. Yeah. And if they don't have an answer, reaching out to other people within the community, or of the teacher community, like what has worked for you for this type of behavior, and consistency, being consistent, same thing every day, and if you are a teacher who have their own things going on, and like this is just the tip of the iceberg, where it's time to kind of step away and let somebody else come in and support. Yeah, because you don't want to get in a situation to where things show up and then now you're reacting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, something that I see a lot, and this is for any type of teacher, and you kind of touched on it, but when you're letting your personal life and your other stuff, like other things that you have going on in your own life, have you ever been there? And then if so, what advice would you give to teachers that are there, they're not being proactive, but they're being reactive?
Yes, I've been in that situation before, and that's what I'm saying. For someone else, having a team and having someone else step in, to kind of take over the situation, because it could be where you're interacting with that student who's hitting you for hours, and you're just trying to protect them, and also you're trying to protect yourself, and where the student will hit another student, and you have to step in to intervene. Now that student is hitting you, where okay, now it's time for someone to come in, like, hey, let's switch. It's time to switch, and just being okay with that, and being okay. One of the big things for me personally, I was like, in order for me to be consistent, I have to be consistent. So with someone else coming in, that's going to mess up the consistency, and I don't want that to happen. But I have to, because now I'm making it personal, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So now you have to switch during
You
that
have
time.
to be able to switch out.
You have to be mature enough to switch and not be
switch out.
not attaching your expectations on how the situation is supposed to be. Because I think if you attach your situation to your expectations, then that student or that situation is not going to, meet up to your expectation, because it's not you.
And you make some really good points in there, especially when you even talk about being able to, for one, rely on a team, and then two, being okay with stepping out and letting someone else step in, even if that's temporarily or that's permanently.
Yeah.
Because across the board, what I hear from a lot of teachers, most teachers, is that they're constantly stressed out. I want to get your perspective on this. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it shows us that the field of education for teachers from 2024 to 2034 will grow by -2%. Now, to give you some comparison, nursing is going to grow by 5% and counselors are going to grow by 17%. Those specific fields. Now, they don't really give you any specific reasons of why it's growing or why it's not growing. But at least for teaching, that number, -2%, it's showing us that it's not going to grow, that teaching is declining, that the amount of teachers that are actually going to be in teaching and also the amount of people that are actually going into teaching is actually declining. Can you think of any reason for that?
I can. As you was, sharing that statistics, one thing came to mind is that teaching, who wants to be taught something? Like, who wants to be forced to do something that they do not want to do? It varies, right? There is I don't know what statistic it is, or it's not credible. I don't know, because I can't provide it off the top of my head. But I remember hearing something or actually reading something is that students fall out of love of education that in between the second grade to third grade is it's a big jump, and that's when kids or students fall out of love of education, and that's where if you even think about the curriculum now, first and second grade, you're blending sounds, your initial sounds, the middle sounds. You're not even doing the huge math problems. You're not talking about fractions. I mean, you are, but it's at a different rigor from from second to third grade. It's a big difference on what you're being taught. So, and that's just from what I've noticed. And kids are falling in love from second to third grade. It's like, okay, what is the purpose? And now, as a teacher, you're trying to motivate, and you're trying to teach, and you're trying to encourage all at once, and counsel, and provide resources all at once. Once the student goes from second to third grade, right? Whereas being a counselor, you're helping. Like, you're more leaning on how they want to move. As a teacher, you have to move them. You have to provide the things for that student to get to where they need to go. As a counselor, you at their level, and you don't have to move them anywhere. You're working on their pace. Whereas a teacher, you have a pace that's given to you, and the students have to meet that pace. As a nurse, you're serving. You're providing services, and it's based on how they are doing, right? They come to the doctor, or they come as they are, and you have to support them where they're at. You're not telling them they have to meet a standard. You're not putting that information into their head. Like, you share information, yes, But ultimately, who makes the decision? The person does. Like, should I take on to this treatment? Yes or no. Let me look at, let me reach out to other people and see how they progress with this type of medication. You're providing a service, right? You can choose, which hospital you can go to. I mean, you can choose what school you go to. You can also choose the teacher, but it's being pushed down on, especially in like public school, Title One. Like there's a quota that you have to meet, and those expectations are different for a counselor and for a nurse, from my perspective.
There was a RAND survey that was done in 2023, and then it was updated in 2025. And it shows us that 50 to 60% of teachers are experiencing burnout in America. And the top 3 reasons that they gave, the number 1 reason was student behavior. And after that, it was being overworked and underpaid. And then after that, it was doing admin work outside of teaching. But are you surprised by student behavior being number 1?
Not at all.
Really?
I'm not surprised at all. Because when I talked about the routines, right? Being inside the classroom is a system. Like, you have to raise your hand to go to the bathroom. At home, you don't have to do that. At home, you're independent. Where you're in a school setting, you have to fall under their rules. Which, I mean, you having somebody that really doesn't know you, really doesn't know your needs and things. I mean, they know that you need education. And you don't have time to sit down with every student every day and devote yourself, because you have 30, 35 students that you have to focus on. So it's not surprising that behavior is number 1.
Yeah.
Not surprising at all.
And several other people have also shared with me as well that it's not surprising to them too. My personal, or my time in education, and then also I subbed a little bit as well. And I was very surprised. I used to think, when people used to say, hey, or when people used to present the question, are kids different now? And I used to say no. But seeing how kids have evolved over time, I would say yes. Kids are different. Sure. Yes, they still desire to be loved, to want to be accepted.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we know that things have just changed now. There are several studies that'll tell us that culture changes every 30 to 90 days. And it's hard. I would like to believe that it's very hard for a teacher to really keep up with the changing culture every 30 to 90 days, and then also every year as well. Because as you mentioned, you're getting a new set of kids every year, and then now you're working on basically rebuilding that, or building new routines. Or, you may have some of the same kids, especially being in SPED. And then now you're trying to help them get adjusted to these new relationships and these other new behaviors that are in their classroom. Yeah. So,
and I was also thinking, as you were saying, about the culture, and knowing, like, and just from my perspective, or even like back in the day, being a teacher was glorified. Like, you had some of the top professionals teaching, and looking at, like you mentioned, the low salaries. Like, you can make a lot more money in tech or any other industry other than education, and you might not do as much work and might not have that impact on people, but you can still pay your bills, take care of your responsibilities.
Yeah.
And that's different now, just because of those high-paying jobs. They're getting those professionals in those industries. So though the salaries and the cost of living has increased tremendously, where teachers are not getting paid to match. I was talking to one teacher. She was like, "Yeah, my salary, and based on my salary and where I live, I can apply for food stamps. I was like, what?
Wow.
You can apply for food stamps based off your salary as a teacher? And she was like, yeah. It's like, think about that. Think about if they increase the salaries for teachers and we'll get those high performing, passionate teachers inside of the school system. If they, from my perspective, if they change the salary, if you pay someone $140,000, $160,000, then you'll get someone that's really motivated. I think be more willing to stay as a teacher because you're getting paid a lot better.
Yeah,
and it's not like that now. So you getting someone who, I mean, they're trying to hire as much students out of college quickly as possible. Programs for you to become you don't even have to be a certified teacher to teach. They put you on a probation. You have 2 years to get your license. We'll help you out. We'll give you the courses and things like that. We'll provide some of the resources. You got to come out of your pocket here and there, but you can start teaching and having a teacher salary. You don't have to be certified. You can work on your certification through this program because you're being watched, being supervised, being monitored, right? Which you're providing that person that's going through that progress or through that program is relied on providing the services to the students in the classroom. So if you don't have the experience to deal with behavior, if you're just coming from a different industry, coming to trying to teach kids, there's going to be a learning curve. They emphasize on, as the first year teacher, you're going to struggle, or you're going to struggle straight off the bat. You'll get better. You'll learn the tricks and trades that work for you, and you'll get better. But how does that help with the gap in education? Because not only you have students who are struggling, there's a lot of students who have ADHD now. So you're dealing with those kids. You're doing all these different diagnoses.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about trying to change the curve of the school to jail pipeline. That doesn't help. Because now you're not qualified to be in the classroom, and you are the person that helps that student or helps that gap disappear. And we're relying on a program.
Yeah. You whenever you were even talking about some of the new diagnoses that are even present today, that are popping up more and more. And we're seeing, we're seeing, like, in a way, a diagnosis that's explaining, okay, hey, this is why, like, this is what basically is what's happening. Like, this is why the student is behaving this way, talking this way, acting this way, speaking to you like this, cursing you out, hitting their friends or distracting you like in the class, or just telling you that they don't want to learn. But like you said, if they paid teachers more, there would be more of a motivation to want to stay. And then possibly even want to keep up with the evolving, the evolving nature of just our world and education overall. I'm not surprised by that teacher, living off or being able to actually be qualified for food stamps, especially in some areas. I think what surprises me the most is that there hasn't been a big radical shift for people to really, or for a lot of these districts or organizations, state governments, federal government, to actually make a shift to say something has to be done. Because education or teaching, it really appears it's becoming more of a revolving door for teachers to come in. They'll get 2 or 3 or 4 years experience, and either A, they'll go the admin route, or B, they will burn out and then find a different job. There's a lot of security in education, and I think we both know that there's a benefit to it. But also at the same time, because education is constantly evolving and also constantly changing, there's constantly new research coming out on education or how to teach this or what to teach there.
Yeah.
So even with that, even how quick education seems to change every day, every year, every decade, how have you, I guess, kept up with how things have changed? And then also, have you saw other people basically getting left behind by how fast education has changed?
And you said like teachers being left behind or just students?
Teachers, admin, any professionals in education.
I did look at a post, and when they talked about how AI is being integrated into education, and knowing that it's going to affect teaching. I mean, I don't know how is it going to be a positive effect or negative effect on how education is going to move forward. Now, I did see a post about how back in the day that a calculator is going to cause this negative impact on how people learn because of a calculator. And they did not want calculators to be integrated.
I remember that actually too. Yeah,
into education. They said that this is crazy. I mean, there were protests about it, saying that they don't want calculators into it. And I'm looking back, oh my goodness, if calculators weren't in school, I might be, I was struggling for real. But I mean, and just knowing that calculators have been beneficial. I mean, we have it on our phones.
Yeah.
Having a calculator is very beneficial to help us calculate things where you might need to look at a formula for multiple times and actually know all these steps. But we have a calculator to help us do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same approach when it comes to this AI, is that how can we leverage the AI to improve things? Since it can calculate and go through all of these resources or reference and help you, spit out, something to help you mentally to where you can actually execute.
Yeah. So
I think as the education to figure out like how can we jump on this new wave, and of course look at statistics and how it affects us negatively, the cons of it. That's going to provide us a lot of information on making those adjustments, right? Yeah. Anything that goes great, they look at the statistics, but typically something that goes don't break. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
So if the information that is that's being showed is negative, okay, let's figure it out and kind of make some adjustments here and there.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be where it's affecting kids, a whole bunch, but I mean, it can provide something that's going to help them to where, I mean, we have to evolve. I mean, that's that we evolve from the calculator. we evolve, and now we did evolve. We're here. Even going back, like we didn't our cell phones, man. Our cell phones. Like I was looking back, like how did we get to places? We had to log into a computer and go to MapQuest, right? Yeah. Now we had that. We evolved. Now we can use
our phones.
Now we use our phones to travel anywhere. Yeah. We don't have to. If you didn't have a printer or have access to internet, now you have it on your phone. Like, where would I like to explore next? And I think if education look at the new wave of things at that perspective, then we don't know what's going to expect. How can we, decrease that educational gap?
Yeah, you make a good point, especially how, man, I don't really remember. I think I was maybe in elementary or maybe middle school when they were really scared about the calculators. Because I do remember at some point being taught how to use a calculator, but not being given a calculator on a test. I think now on the STAR test, I believe you are given a calculator.
For some, yeah.
Yeah.
For especially in middle school and high school. I mean, you have to. You need a calculator with sin, with cosine. You know.
Absolutely. And I remember whenever I was in college, I remember learning about these calculators, these really fancy calculators where basically they do a lot of the work for you, especially if you're in like Cal 1, Cal 2, DE. It's doing a lot of the work for you there. They're pretty expensive calculators, but at the same time, though, if you don't know how to work it, you won't understand it.
Yeah.
But I can see what you mean by that, even with AI, because there is a big fear of AI.
Yeah.
I think every day I'm seeing a video about, someone losing their job to AI and people being afraid of AI actually taking their job. It makes me think about if there was a school, maybe 20 years ago where they said, hey, every kid gets a calculator. I'm sure there were people like me who were just, I'm so scared that my kid is they're going to grow up and just not know anything, And I think maybe that's the fear that comes even with AI teaching kids is I'm afraid that, that they're not going to know simple math, or they're not going to know fractions. They're not going to know how to take care of themselves in just an ever evolving world. But if we're able to lean into it and maybe even come up with a good plan for how to teach the kids, I think maybe we may take a step in a good direction. Instead of just kind of listening to what's going on, maybe we just start speaking and making action or making, those measurable steps. How does a teacher's internal burnout physically manifest in the classroom? And do you think the students pick up on that energy?
Yes, the students know when you're having a bad day. Students know that they'll actually ask you, like, you okay? Especially if you are coming into the classroom and they already know how you are supposed to look. Like I heard a student just yesterday. Oh, you got your hair done. Oh, you finally got your hair braided. I'm like, wow, these kids these days, man, they'll tell you straight up how they feeling or even what they observe. So kids know. They pick on it real quickly, right? Yeah. Say, a student is really getting on your nerves and all your attention goes to that student. Oh, that's just a power struggle. That student is going to continue to go. And even if it, derail in the classroom, he'll do it just because the students think it's fun. They're taken away from actually learning it. I mean, they want to have fun. Kids want to have fun. And if that means causing the teacher to be overwhelmed, oh, look at that, just being upset. They love, you see it. The kids love to mess with each other. They want to see other kids get upset. If they can make an adult, get upset, oh, that's just even more worth it. Yeah. Being in that environment where, okay, we're not doing any work. This student is being a clown or just don't really care. This just makes the day go by faster.
Makes the day go by faster. Hey.
From that student's perspective, oh yeah, I can make it. It's a 90-hour block, 90-minute block. Oh, I can make this thing go real fast. Yeah. And then it just, okay. I mean, that's just, foundations need to be taught from, like, I think more of how the behavior it should be taught at the house, right? Kids are able to make those adjustments on how to behave in school, how to behave at home. Like you see some kids, right? They'll go to the grocery store, running around the store, or they go to movie theater. They talking loud. I mean, that's just, you can't blame the kids. They're not able to make those adjustments at that time where it needs to be adjusted. Some of the things I tell my students is that what you're doing is not wrong. It's not bad. I mean, certain things can be bad. Yeah. But it's not bad as you're doing it in the wrong place, in the wrong setting. If a student is in the classroom and they got their feet on the desk, that's not bad. Having the feet on the desk, they might do that at home. No, they kick their feet up, lay on, they get comfortable. It's not that it's not wrong what they're doing. It's just where they're doing it at is what changes. It changes everything, and then for them to actually notice, like I tell them, like, hey, if I love the barbecue, if I put my barbecue pit right here, is it wrong for me to barbecue? It was like, I mean, yeah, you can't barbecue in the school. I'm like, exactly. That's what you have to realize, that it's not what I'm doing that's wrong, is where I'm doing it at.
It's where you're doing it at.
It's where you're doing it at.
Yeah.
So if a kid understands that, like, oh, I just have to make that little tweak and just do it in the correct time, in the correct space. I mean, we do it as adults. I mean, some individuals, like the way you talk to people differently. You talk to the elders or people who are a lot older differently than you talk to someone that's relatively close to your age. You change. I would say code switch. I would say you switch your behavior based on the situation, and kids at that age, they just want to have fun. They can't make that change unless they're taught to do that. Like, they have to be taught how to act in every space. At home, you act different than when you're at school. You act different than going to church. You act different than going to the grocery store. Those skills have to be taught. So, of course, students would know about how the teacher is, their posture, because they are very observant. We are humans. We observe behavior. And I think, from my perspective, that a lot of people learn from other behaviors, right? So the environment that they're in, if they're amongst a lot of people, a lot of cousins hanging out, they're used to that environment. So, I mean, in some cultures, interacting is elevating your voice, having a conversation. Somebody else jumps in. That environment doesn't fit how school is now. You're supposed to sit there and listen. I think we, as far as education, move toward a more being able for the students to be authentic and communicate with each other rather than direct instruction, maybe collaborative instruction, less teacher voice and more student voice environment. Then you can gauge on, it's the same environment, but you can engage on which activity is appropriate for that type of, I say, voice level, participation, how to move within that particular activity. So yeah, we are very observant, and kids know when a student is when a teacher is overwhelmed.
Let me ask you this, and these are just questions, just kind of as we are closing out. The Super Bowl, Seahawks. I'm blanking on the other team. I was about to say Texans. Seahawks and Patriots.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win?
I'm not really happy about the two teams that's there.
Wait, didn't you live in Seattle, right?
I did live in Seattle. So I'm like, okay, Seattle versus the Patriots.
Yeah.
I'm not really excited about the game. I'm more looking, when I look at a Super Bowl type of environment, I am looking for it to be dramatic, right? Yeah. So I'm looking for, like, the underdog to go to the Super Bowl and beat the big dog. The big dog. Like, I like that drama when it comes to the Super Bowl. The only thing that saves it is the drama when they played 10 years ago. They had opportunity to beat the Patriots, didn't run the ball, ended up throwing the ball, and then that was just an interception. They was about to win. Yeah. So that's like the only thing that holds me interested in the Super Bowl. It's like, okay, come on, Seahawks. Let's get this win, because you could have got it 10 years ago. Come get it now. Yeah. That's the only thing that's holding me, for me to be interested in watching the Super Bowl. Yeah. So I'm going with the Seahawks.
Yeah. Word. You know what? I'm actually going for the Seahawks as well. Yeah. Seattle was where my wife and I did our honeymoon at. And since then, we've just wanted to go back. So I was like, you know what? I'm going for Seattle Seahawks. Really hope that they win. And then also Patriots beat the Texans. I know C.J. Stroud was the one that really, was the force that was standing in the way and the curse that was put on the Texans. But hey, he's learning, he's growing. I believe in him. So that's what matters. Let me ask you this, man. Do you have a favorite hobby?
I do. Favorite hobby is cooking.
Really?
Yes.
What's a meal that you like to cook?
I like to create meals out of just random things.
Wait, really?
So kind of like, you ever watch Chopped?
Oh yeah,
You use all these different ingredients to cook something. So I like. I mean, no dish that I can actually that I'm actually enjoy cooking, but I like to, I guess, evolve ingredients that are kind of not meant to be together or not traditionally put together. So I would say one of my hobbies is cooking. I would say another hobby would be like drawing. And one of the things that I learned about myself during COVID is more the creative side of things, using my hands. I started to do wood carving. So actually drawing on like wood and actually carving it out.
Yeah.
I did something like that. I was like, man, I really enjoy drawing. It's very therapeutic for me to draw. And then one of the things that I like was restoring Jordans. So buying Jordans off like eBay or Mercari, buy it, at a low cost.
Yeah.
Get the paint, spray paint it, do the little tricks and strategies to get the shoes back to his original state, and then reselling it. Wow. So it was like, man, so I would say, cooking for sure, drawing, those are my hobbies.
Do you ever sell them? Like, do you buy them and then
resell them? Yeah.
Really? What's the most money that you've made off of selling a pair of shoes, if you don't mind me asking?
I would say the biggest was like $80.
What? Okay.
It was like $80. Okay. What got me into I like Jordans and shoes like that. I'm like, looking at the price, you're paying like $270, $300 for a pair of shoes, man.
Yeah, man, it's not cheap.
Like, it's not. Shoes these days it's not cheap. I don't know if you remember like the East Bay magazines. You can look at the shoes and stuff like that. It was a magazine.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah.
So
yes.
I looked at a post and they had it. I was like, man, the shoes were that cheap. Man, you get a pair of retro Jordans for like $70, $60. Air Force Ones was like $49.99.
I remember that, man.
And you get a pair of Air Force now, it's like cost you like $120.
Yeah, man, it's expensive.
So I was like, I'm gonna buy some cheap shoes. I'm gonna restore it, and I'll rock. I'll rock it. I'll get it back to its original state. Now wear them. And I was like, man,
yeah.
So I can get some money off this.
Absolutely. I think the cheapest I've ever paid on Jordans was like $150, and I think those were like the cheapest. But you're right. I don't think I could pay. No. I had a buddy in high school who this was whenever they had the Yeezy Rest guys. Okay. I think they're now like $25,000, but then they were almost $1,000. Yeah. And I remember I had a friend that was gonna buy them, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I could ever do that, paying that much money for, shoes. But do you have a favorite TV show or movie?
I don't have a favorite TV. I watch sports, but I don't have like a TV show. I try to stick to like movies. I don't like anything more. If it's like a series, I'm passing over it. Like, give me the movie. Let me get give me the climax and resolution, and be done with it. Where series, you're in it.
Yeah,
and I can't. My attention span. I can't just sit there and just give me the end of the story.
The ending, yeah. So I feel you on that. I've been watching a lot of movie recaps on YouTube because it's like 10 minutes.
I mean, right now, some of the movies are associated with my son watch. So he watches like the anime Spider-Man movie. He really likes the Zootopia. So if I watch a movie, it's gonna be associated with something like that.
That makes sense.
Like something family.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Understandable, man. Well, Javon, before I let you go for today, I want to ask you, is there any advice that you would give to a teacher who is experiencing burnout and they're in a tough place in their career? What advice would you give them? And then also, what direction should they take next?
I think the first thing where I would tell them is that develop your self-care plan, because you're going to need it on those days. So whatever your self-care plan is, I mean, you asked me my question about my hobbies. That's something I would ask the teacher. Like, what are your hobbies? What are some of the things that you like to do? How do you fill your cup? Because you emptying it out every day here. How you feel? How you fill it back up? And really working your self-care plan. If they're looking for any other place in education, I would maybe go to a different grade level. Different grade level might help. Or I've seen some teachers even go out of the field and then jump back into it. But it's still associated with education, whether they're like a director or they're creating things for education. Some people are like become like a personal trainer, where it's still some of the components, some of the same skills as a teacher, but it's more on the training side. Curriculum designers on that side. So I would say if they still can be passionate about supporting education in different ways.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Well, my brother, thank you for your time today. I am grateful that you took the time out of your day to give us your experience, education, expertise. Thank you.
I appreciate it. It was great. I was really looking forward to this, so I'm glad I was able to come through.
Yeah, absolutely,
talk,
man.